there's always a reason why we vote one way or the other. And for mine, the 2016 campaign of Hillary and Trump was one of them. But I thought I'd use that to help others maybe judge how they should vote in the future from then to now with guns and everything and their rhetoric on race. So let's get into it, all right?
Much of it is related to the initiative called community policing.
Back then, I'd have no idea about community policing, what it meant, what it entailed, or anything of the sort. I just thought community where people live, their little cul-de-sacs and stuff. So community where people live, I had no idea what it truly meant. Communities are small, very targeted areas. So it's black people, Latino people. It's basically your minority area. Minorities have communities. Poor whites would have communities. Middle class and upper, there are no communities. So it's really just code.
Because we have finally gotten more police officers on the street. That was one of the goals that the president had when he pushed the crime bill that was passed in 1994.
In 1994, President Bill Clinton at the time passed reform and laws for people of basically the 3 strikes rule. If you caught with any iota of weed or anything like that on you, no matter how small or infinitesimal, you will go to jail and or prison. If you're caught 3 times, you go for life. That mainly targeted the communities, the code for blacks, Latinos, some poor whites, and what whites were included, but it was mainly all in California, targeting the most economically challenged groups, which are your African Americans and your Mexican Americans. This led to a high incarceration rate, so high that people had to get let out. So murderers and rapists were let out while drug offenders were put in.
They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel. And the president has asked the FBI to launch a very concerted effort against gangs everywhere.
The super predators line was one that was really at a lot of debate because she was being very blanketed. However, when the Young Turks brought it up, how racial it was, how it mainly went to black people, I kind of just went in tow with it because it's just easy to assume it. Just because she's Democrat doesn't mean she's all for equality. And that's the problem. People think if you're Democrat, then you're this. And no, that's not. If you're Democrat, you're just on that political party. When she mentions that there's no conscience, no empathy, I'm thinking that's projection 101. But then why was this racial? Why would it be just black and Latino people? Mainly because at that time, it was mainly black people, because at that time, when it came to gangs, MS-13 had not really poured over into the United States from Mexico. So what that means is she was talking about the Bloods and the Crips, which while that 3 strikes rule was in California, it just went hand in hand. And then she says, we can talk about how they got that way, but we have to bring them to heel. The truth is, you need to talk about how they got that way. And you know how we got that way. The United States government pushed them to be that way. Institutionalized racism pushed them to be that way. So if you want to talk about what caused all the damage, it's you, your ilk, your people. That's what happens. And that's why people stopped voting for Hillary. They went to Bernie Sanders. That's why I wasn't going to vote for Hillary. It's not the only reason, but it's a main reason on why. And when you say that someone has to be spoken to, or we have to, have a discussion about it, there is no discussion. There is decency and there is indecency. And what she proposed was extremely indecent, to back a law and incarceration rate that only damaged everything. She backed it, she wanted it, and she held true during this 2016 campaign. She said she wished she hadn't said it. She hadn't said it since, but it doesn't matter. You said it, you meant it, you were bought and paid for. That is how people need to vote. When they say something despicable, you don't vote for them, period. They lose your vote, they lose the ability to hear you out because they done said enough. So when it comes to Hillary Clinton and her super predator comment, when she was confronted by a black girl who paid the $500 for the interview or whatnot, and she held up the sign as a protest, Hillary Clinton said she's never heard it, no one's ever spoken to her about it, no one's had a problem with it, and then she ignored her and then said, now we can get on to the real issues. At that moment, Hillary was done. To me, she was done. And I wasn't going to vote for Trump or any other Republican that was catering to Trump. So therefore, Jill Stein was my go-to, especially when Bernie dropped out and started favoring Hillary, the one that was against everything he stood for.
Will you unequivocally condemn David Duke and say that you don't want his vote or that of other white supremacists in this election?
I love the graphic right up there that CBSN has up there. Trump refuses to disavow the KKK. When someone on CNN gives you a direct, easy softball question like that, the answer is so obvious that even the most hardened racist would answer it with, yes, I do. I disavow them. I have nothing to do with them. Yada, yada, yada. Oh, they were people of my brethren back in the day, but, you know, it's a new day and age, and we need to look forward to the future, yada, yada, yada. But Trump isn't bright. He's not. He's used to how he grew up, and he longed for the days of black people know their place. So how does he answer to make sure that his racial base stays with him? Well, let's take a look at how he answers, or don't answer.
Well, just so you understand, I don't know anything about David Duke, okay? I don't know anything about what you're even talking about with white supremacy or white supremacists. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know, did he endorse me or what's going on? Because, you know, I know nothing about David Duke. I know nothing about white supremacists. And so you're asking me a question that I'm supposed to be talking about people that I know nothing about.
I do not know these people to which you are talking about. That's about what Donald Trump did. And it's not smart. He didn't get away with anything. To sit there and say, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know these people. Did they endorse me? Of course they endorsed you. That's how you knew. Everyone had known for a whole week before this question that David Duke and others were endorsing Trump, telling all the white racists and white nationalists and all this to get behind Donald Trump because he's going to lead white America to the future against the Jews and against the blacks and whatnot. That's what was going on, and Trump is like, white supremacy. I don't know. Trump, now, was he probably raised in white supremacy? No, but considering the fact of keeping blacks away from his hotels, following his dad's lead, and living his life as his dad by, segregating blacks from his businesses and whatnot, or making sure that if they do go in, they go in the back like they used to back in the days of Trump being a teenager. Trump knows about segregation, and he knows about white supremacy. You don't live as long as you do like Trump and not know about white supremacy. So therefore, he's already screwing with your intelligence. He's already insulting your intelligence. And he's also making sure to say to his white racist base, I'm not saying no to you. I'm just going to say I don't know about you. And that could be put off enough about him, but they all know Trump's their guy. They're going to be with him, and Trump failed it. So it's like any black person, and they're in Florida, they're blacks for Trump. Any black person that would have voted for Trump, you have sold out yourself. You sold out your race. You sold out your family. Sometime after the Parkland, Florida shooting, there were a town hall held where a student decided to confront Marco Rubio. It was supposed to be someone else, but they didn't show. Marco Rubio was there instead. And I'm going to pick this apart positively and negatively. That the truth is, what needs to be acknowledged is that Marco Rubio has not much to do at all with gun regulations, gun control, or anything else. But I'm going to pick this apart little by little.
Senator Rubio, it's hard to look at you and not look down the barrel of an AR-15 and not look at Nicholas Cruz. But the point is, you're here, and there are some people who are not.
It's hard to look at you and not look down the barrel of an AR-15. I'm like, okay, to me, that was just dumb. Okay, so you're looking at him. You should be shaking in your boots. If you look at somebody, there are people out there with some serious post-traumatic stress disorders going on. And when they look at something or someone, they don't see that object. They see the thing that scared the hell out of them, and they freak out. So basically, this schmuck is up here insulting the hell out of everyone who's legit going through things. And I get what he's saying. Yes, you are the one that passed this legislation. You did this and that. So looking at you is the same as looking at the gun that did all these crimes, but at the same time, the gun didn't do it. The one carrying the gun is the one that did it. The gun ain't gonna stand up and just shoot people. It takes someone to shoot the gun at the people. So you can't hate the gun. You got to hate the one shooting it. And as much as I can't stand Marco Rubio, this kid started off real stupid, and Marco should have called him out on it. That's what he should have done. If looking at me is like looking down the barrel of an AR-15, then why are you not shaking in your boots? I would have asked something like that. But he says, but the point is, you're here and they're not. So are you saying that Marco Rubio should die? Is that the point? The point is, well, they're dead and you're alive. So, you know, it's a sad day because you're here. I'm just saying the kid started off poorly. I get what he did. It was a little bit of social political crap that you grow up in during high school and stuff. I just think he started off stupid.
And I need to ask two things of you. Number one, Chris Grady, can you stand up? This is my friend who's going to the military. I need you to tell him that he's going to live to make it to serve our country. And then we'll get to the other one.
If I was Marco, I'd have been like, wait, what did you just ask me to do? What did you just, what? This is stupid. I'm like, boy, this is why you can't do this while you're in high school. This is why everyone thinks that you're a joke. That's why everyone else thinks that all these other people are, you know, this Hodge dude, you know, is just an actor and all this because of stupid antics like this. You can tell my friend that he's going to make it through. He's going to join the armed forces. He's going to join the military outfit. I want you to promise him that he's going to live. The boy is signing up to literally 50-50 chance of dying. You're going to have a 1 to 10% chance of dying in the United States, depending upon where you live and what fool is out doing what. But you're going to sign up for the military and go into active duty, then you have raised your stakes to die. The United States is all about war. We're all about war with each other, with other countries, and everything else. And this boy going to sit here and be like, I mean, oh my goodness. I wish I could reference a verbal role play thing that we're doing because, oh man, it would be so perfect. But it's almost no different than being in high school, which is where this boy's from, go to high school and being like, I heard you like this person. Do you like that person? Why don't you go and tell her that you like her? Go tell her, or go tell him that you like him. It's like, man, what? This is some stupid mess. Now this boy gonna sit here and say, I want you to sit here and lie to my friend or whoever this other person is about what he's gonna do in or out of the military. I'm like, man, I'd be like, you're asking me to lie to him? Really? This isn't high school, son. This is the real world. You go to the military, you are going to possibly die. That's the truth. You will serve our government and you will fight for our desires and our needs. And what happens, happens. Live with it.
Not only are you going to live to serve our country, you and all of you have a chance to change our country. Change not just our laws, but the way we talk about our laws.
The fact that Marco Rubio even went along with that BS shows how he'll just easily placate to anybody. He will simply do what he's got to do, to say what he's got to say, to get whatever he's got to get and move on. And Marco Rubio is a very calculating and unempathetic, unsympathizing person. So he just went on and told this boy, you're going to live through the day, through any other day, and go on to serve the military and live through that, and then say that this is going to change the way we talk about laws and how we do things and how we run business and all this other stuff. Marco Rubio set himself up to get annihilated. The problem is everyone there is going to vote for him. Why? Reasons. I guarantee you they're going to vote for him because his name is in their heads. They've had this thing. They can go away and say, I can't stand him. I don't like him, yada, yada, yada. But when they go to that ballot one day in 2 to 3 years, they're going to see Marco Rubio's name maybe in 1 year for those that are almost going to be 18. And they're going to see his name and be like, something. I don't know who this other dude is. So I guess I'll go with Marco Rubio because I know him. And they don't. And he don't know them and he don't care. That's how that's going to go.
So absolutely.
Thank you. And guys, look, this isn't about red and blue. We can't boo people because they're Democrats and boo people because they're Republicans. Anyone who's willing to show change, no matter where they're from, anybody who's willing to start to make a difference is somebody we need on our side here. And this is about people who are for making a difference to save us and people who are against it and prefer money. So, Senator Rubio, can you tell me right now that you will not accept a single donation from the NRA in the future? I wish I could have asked the NRA lady a question. I wish the NRA lady I could have talked to, because I would ask her how she can look in the mirror, considering the fact that she has children, but, you know, maybe she avoids those.
What was that? I'm sorry?
I don't freaking know.
That's okay. The question is about NRA money.
I honestly don't know what Marco Rubio said that got the crowd in that little jeer hissy fit. I don't know, but honestly, the boy set things up very well. And I'm not going to acknowledge his name. I don't give a shit. But he set this up properly. He did a good job. He threw in the NRA lady, and I'm like, you know what? Cool. And anyone, how does she look at herself in the mirror? You know, she's got kids, and she's gonna espouse for the NRA and whatnot. How? It's simple. She'll look in the mirror and say, I got paid. I don't have to be poor. I don't have to, you know, I can have 5-star hotels and 5-star meals. I can go anywhere around the world at any given point, and I can do it tax-free. That's how she has kids, can look herself in the mirror knowing that she's passing and lobbying for these gun legislations that are deregulations, in fact, and kids and whatnot are being killed and murdered. And it ain't just kids, adults. You got to think about adults, you know, our, you know, uncles, aunts, you know, moms, dads, cousins, you know, all this other stuff. Look, people in general are being killed. You know, animals are needlessly being killed. Everything is needlessly being killed with guns for no reason other than I got a gun, I can't wait to use it. So this kid set Marco Rubio up very well, because Marco earlier said it helps us. Matter of fact, I'll just play it.
You and all of you have a chance to change our country. Change not just our laws, but the way we talk about our laws.
See, when we talk about our laws, that's what we do. We talk about them. This gun law, I'm not very happy about. It's helped bring in age of destruction, murder, and mayhem, and allows people who are not mentally there to be able to get a hold of them and cause these kind of massacres and chaos that uproots everything of our civil surroundings. And someone says, well, I like the gun laws because they allow us to do what we want to do, uphold our Second Amendment rights, and we can go out and hunt, protect our families, and we can assist our police officers in active duty whenever they find themselves at a disadvantage, like the bank robbery in California those years ago. And, you know, it goes back and forth, and we talk about it, and we talk about it. But see, that's the thing. While we're talking about it, and while we could talk about it with Marco Rubio or any other politician, the truth is everyone else that are above, you know, in the political arena and above that has big money, they ain't talking about it. They're doing it, and they're deregulating. They're ushering in new laws, anything that can get guns into anybody's hands. That's what they're doing, and that's what Marco Rubio is just about to explain. As you listen to him just say, I am not going to stop the NRA, Smith & Wesson, or whatever they call themselves now. I am not going to stop them from putting guns out on the street. I am not going to stop them from distributing them to anyone, because I believe in the Second Amendment, and I believe in everyone having a gun and a gun having everyone. And that's what he says. Let's listen.
So, number one, the positions I hold on these issues of the Second Amendment, I've held since the day I entered office in the city of West Miami as an elected official. Number two, no, the answer to the question is that people buy into my agenda. And I do support the Second Amendment. And I also support the right of you and everyone here to be able to go to school and be safe. And I do support any law that would keep guns out of the hands of a deranged killer. And that's why I support the things that I have stood for and fought for during my time there.
More NRA money?
That is the wrong way to look. First of all, the answer is people buy into my agenda.
You can say no.
Number second, well, the influence of any group.
We're going to be here all night.
The influence of these groups comes not from money. The influence comes from the millions of people that agree with the agenda. The millions of Americans that support the NRA and who support gun rights groups.
Senator.
Guys, if you
Cameron is having a conversation with Senator Rubio. Let's let them talk.
Listen, I respect, you can ask that question, and I can tell you that people buy into my agenda. I will answer any questions you guys have about any policy.
Right now, guys, be quiet. You know.
And I just think that ultimately that is not our goal here. Our goal here is to move forward.
Wait, so hold on.
And
right now, in
the
name of 17 people, you cannot ask the NRA to keep their money out of your campaign.
You're probably getting sick and tired of me pausing it by now. Just to let you know, these are 2-minute or less little, interjections. That's really what they are. And what this kid asked is very simple. What's more important to you, the money or the lives of these people? And that's a very straightforward question. And Marco Rubio, as he kept saying, they buy into my agenda. So let's translate that a little bit. I have an agenda. It's for the Second Amendment. My agenda is such and such and such. And the NRA comes along and they say, we've got lots and lots of money and we like what you are saying, so we're going to pay you to keep doing what you're already doing. See, that's where it fails. That's where the logic breaks down. You have to pay someone to keep doing what they're doing? No. And does Marco Rubio already have some Second Amendment agendas and beliefs and whatnot? Yes, of course he does. But then when that money comes in, it's like, you know what? I have no problem swaying a little bit here or swaying a little bit there just to make sure that everybody's happy. Basically that's another code for I'm selling out to the big donors. We got to make sure that every American is happy. We got to do this for every American. Every American needs to be assured of such and such. When they say American, they mean big donors. They mean politicians. That's what they're talking about. They don't mean grunt workers. They don't mean anybody down here on the ground level with us. You need to keep that in mind. So when this kid asked Marco Rubio this straightforward question, you would think he would at least lie. But he also has to talk to his donors because they're watching. So his answer has to be pinpoint stupid.
I think in the name of 17 people, I can pledge to you that I will support any law that will prevent a killer like this.
No, but I'm talking
getting
NRA money.
No, because...
matter of fact, I bet we can get people in here to give you exactly as much money as the NRA would have.
But it's not. I understand. And you're right.
Can you stand up and donate to that real quick? Okay, not a lot, but we'll get it. I'll do it.
You're right about
quite
that.
a bit of money so far.
Well, you're right about that. There's money on both sides of every issue in America. And where that leaves us in policymaking is to look at the issues and make a decision based on what we think is right.
All right, so you've been exposed to everything about politics. Marco Rubio, backed in the corner, not knowing exactly where to go, he has to admit how politics go in the country. As he said, there's money on both sides of any issue. So when it comes to policy making, they have to make a decision on what they think is right. So basically, look, this is what goes on. It's very explanatory. It's self-explanatory, but I'm going to do this anyway. What happens is, if you have a policy out there, let's say, okay, Marco's sitting at his desk and everyone's making policies and all this other stuff. Okay, what do we do? Where do we go? So they present these policies. They already write them down. It's basically a good ledger. They send it out to all the big money donors. The big money donors go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and then they might bicker on what they want. Now, if you're making a lot of money, like Charles Barkley said, I'm a millionaire, so I vote Republican. That's what Charles Barkley said. I think he's dumb as fuck, but at least he's honest, and I respect his honesty and whatnot. But when it comes to this, you have to make a choice. Do you go with the millions of dollars that the NRA will give you, or the hundreds of thousands of dollars that someone else might give you to maybe do something decent? And it's like, okay, so you have to make a decision on what's right. Well, what's right? Which one will give you the most yield and yet allow the people to stay behind you? So if you're going to take the money from the NRA, not only do you have to just take that and then espouse for them, then you have to galvanize the people behind it with stupid mess on CNN or any other place that says, we're doing this to protect our children. We're doing this to protect your children and everyone across seas and home, because we are America and we are for safety.
But ultimately, look, the First Amendment is as important as the Second. And therefore, you have every right to ask that question of me, and I'm here to tell you that I will stand for the things. Are you going to be
accepting money from the NRA in the future?
I've always supported, I will always accept the help of anyone who agrees with my agenda. But my agenda is also, I'll give you a perfect example.
Your agenda is protecting us, right?
Well, I'll give you an example this very evening. I have told you that I support lifting the age from 18 to 21 of buying a rifle. My understanding, as before I walked out here, is that that organization is not in favor of that. But I think that's the right thing to do. I don't know what their position is on teachers being armed, but I don't think they should be, because that's what I think the right thing to do is. When I offered my bill to restrict people on the terrorist watch list or that have been on the list for the last 10 years from purchasing a weapon, they didn't take a stand. I don't think they certainly didn't support but I offered it. I will do what I think is right. And if people want to support my agenda, they're welcome to do so, but they buy into my ideas. I don't buy into theirs.
Okay, so I knew that was going to happen. NRA, please just keep the money out of Rubio, okay? If he wants to run again, you guys
can. Cameron, appreciate it.
This one is just last, but it's not least. I'm not going any further than this one, but Executive Director of NRA, Chris Cox, speaks at RNC. This was a tweet, I believe, or just a headline. And you know something? It's a year old, but you know what? It's just letting you know the NRA, they are all with the RNC, the Republican National Committee. The NRA is just simply a group the NRA is the middleman. That's really it. You know, that's really all it is. You got these gun manufacturers that make all these weapons. And the CIA that helps, you know, supply these weapons. The NRA is just sort of the face of it. You know, that's really what they are. They're the president. They're like Trump. Trump wants a lot of things because that's what everyone around him wants. Just like a kid. That's funny on TV because, you know, they laughed. That's really it. So the NRA, they just go out and just say, hey, man, we want guns. We like guns. We got members. We do this, and we want to support our members, and we get discounts on things. So if you're going to be a member of the NRA, you'll get a discount here. So come on and join the NRA. Get your rifles. Get your guns. Come to our meetings and come to our gun shows. You can get guns for free. You can get them for cheap. Just get your gun and go. Don't care about your age. Don't care about your gender. Just get your gun. So that's what the NRA does, and they can throw in money and everywhere, but the NRA wouldn't make any money if they weren't given any guns to sell. That's about how that goes. The NRA are not a gun manufacturing company. When was the last time the National Rifle Association was making guns? Literally have a shop for making guns. They probably got it by now, but they're just a spokesperson. The NRA is not the problem. The RNC, our Democratic establishment, they're the problem. And because they're the problem, and we're not trying to get these fools out of office, we're the problem. And we can solve it. And Marco Rubio is right. We can have a conversation. But the conversation needs to be short because action needs to be swift. Are guns killing? No, the people using the guns are killing. Get the guns away from the people. Make legislation to do such a thing. It's that simple. You make legislation. You vote in the people that will do the right things. Does the NRA have their hands in with the Democrats? Yes, they do. But the Democrats aren't really going to go with everything they're saying because the Democrats know that if they go with the RNC, not the RNC, but the NRA, too many abbreviations. But if they go with the NRA, then the people are not going to vote for them as readily. They'll just stay home. And the DNC, they will lose every single election because people are not voting. Just like Doug Jones and Roy Moore. Classic, perfect example. Doug Jones would have lost by a massive amount. But the problem is the people, the ones that normally don't vote, they came out in stride and voted. They was like, no, we will not have Roy Moore, this racist, bigoted, child molesting, lying judge of a bastard. We're not going to have him. We're going to outvote these racist, child molesting supporters, and we're going to do that. And they outvoted Roy Moore. So basically, you got Doug Jones, an establishment Democrat, and all Doug Jones really is Roy Moore without the child molestation. That's really it. He's as soon as he got in, he started going with it. He started saying Trump ain't that bad. I don't want to talk about the things with Trump because, you know, I got other things to do. And he reversed all of his decisions. He wants to take away Medicaid. He wants to take away Medicare. He wants to take away Blue Cross, Blue Shield, anything that's for the people. He wants to take it away. He'd rather give to the military and not the people. He'd rather take away public housing. He doesn't want to protect the people in public housing. Doug Jones has screwed up so much in terms of he's going to get reelected most likely because people are like, not a Republican. But then again, you might get those that say, I'm not going to go vote because it don't matter. No matter who we vote for, it's going to be messed up. And that's why this is important. That's why I did this video. Because when you talk to a politician, when you listen to a politician, when you listen to the questions and you hear how they answer, if someone came to me, if I'm a politician, someone said, man, did you molest your daughter? Hell no, I ain't molest her. What's wrong with you? Tell me something, Mr. Kennedy, are you in favor of gun regulations to get them off the streets? Yes, I am. And I'm going to do everything to get the guns off the street because we don't need them up there. Yeah, I don't have to sit and go, policies, things that you don't really care about or know about, money. I don't know. Maybe I don't get it. What do you want? Who's that person you was talking about earlier? Let's talk about that. No, man, that's when you hear that, don't vote for them. They already told you I don't give a damn. If they hesitate or don't answer in your favor, then don't vote for them. And if it comes down to, I got to vote for Republican or Democrat, don't vote third party or don't vote at all. That's how you show your power as well. Don't vote. And they say, we thought the voter turnout would be massive this year. It won't because y'all suck. And if you get a third party up there, guess what? Yeah, that's where the people are going. But that's all I want to do. It's been 31 minutes and roughly 50 seconds, almost 32 minutes. I'm going to wrap it up here. So thank you for listening, all right? This is Cedric Kennedy for Comparative Reasoning, and I'll just be redundant. Thank you for listening.